So in order to promote the ESDM industry in India, government has adopted a multi-pronged approach, which I shall place before you. The first is to set up semiconductor wafer fabs. We recently, on the 20th of April 2011, took a decision by the cabinet to set up an empowered committee to look into this aspect. And we advertised an expression of interest both to leading national and international, in leading international and international print media and on websites as well. And we've received a large number of responses which at present are being evaluated. So that's one step that we have taken. Two, we have decided as a matter of policy to give preferential market access. Of course, we've ensured that we do not flout in any way, both directly and indirectly, WTO norms. That we do not wish to do. But what we are doing and will do is to provide preference to domestically manufactured electronic products in procurement of those electronic products which have security implications for the country, and in government procurement for its own use. This, of course, is consistent with WTO commitments. Each ministry department concerned would specify the percentage of procurement to be made from domestically manufactured electronic product or products, but it should not be less than 30% of the total procurement value of that electronic product or products. For a product to qualify as domestically manufactured, the minimum value addition in year one should be 25%, and it should progressively increase to 45% by year 5. On the 2nd of February 2012, the Government of India cleared this proposal. So that's the second step that we have taken. Announced a procurement policy, first being to evoke an expression of interest for setting up wafer fabs. 3, we have announced a national electronics mission. Through this, we intend to establish in India entities who will be leading global players, and we want to ensure that India is a leading destination for manufacture of electronic systems design and manufacturing, the ESDM. And the ESDM sector, we wish that that sector will achieve domestic production of about $400 billion by 2020. And the mission will be accomplished in the next 10 years. All the initiatives mentioned by me are part of this mission. The NEM is proposed to be implemented by an autonomous National Electronics Commission embedded within the Department of Information Technology and steered by the National Electronics Advisory Board, which would be chaired by the minister, that is myself, and shall have part-time members, officials and non-officials appointed by the government. So we're taking it up on a mission mode. That's number 3. Number 4, modified SIPs provides subsidy for investments and to identify the verticals of the ESDM sector. Support is provided all across the value chain, including manufacturing of the final product. A separate threshold for investment has been prescribed for such activity. The incentives will be available for investments made within a period of 10 years from the date of approval. And the scheme is open for 3 years from the date of the notification. That's step number 4. 5, we're going to set up electronic manufacturing clusters. The implementation of this scheme would be through a special purpose vehicle with at least 7 of the electronic manufacturing cluster units on the board of directors of the special purpose vehicle. The EMC units must hold a minimum of 51% of the share capital of the special purpose vehicle, and no single unit should own more than 25%. The financial assistance for greenfield EMCs will be restricted to 50% of the project cost, subject to a ceiling of 50 crores for every 100 acres of land. For brownfield EMCs, the assistance will be restricted to 75% of the project cost, subject to a ceiling of 50 crores. That's step number 5. 6, we're going to set up an electronic development fund. We propose to create an electronic development fund of about 10,000 crores for supporting R&D, innovation, IPR development, technology transfer in the fields of electronics, IT, and nanotechnology. The fund would be used for supporting daughter funds, which would be managed by professional fund managers. Government contribution to each daughter fund would be between 25 to 100% of the corpus, depending on the nature of the project supported by the daughter fund. So those are our 6 I would say very, very significant decisions to take the fab sector forward. As you know, we've recently launched the Aakash. It's a very exciting project as far as we are concerned, and we wish through the Aakash to realize the dreams of our young population, because we intend to give Aakash to all our school-going and university students. And just to mention the numbers, the number of children going to school in India, about 220 million, which is almost 2/3 of the population of the United States of America. And we want, in times to come, for the Aakash to be available with every young kid in school, as well as, of course, every student in the university. We have, based on the feedback that we've received from Aakash 1, we are going to launch Aakash 2, which is a much better, faster, and more efficient version of the Aakash that we launched. And in order to ensure that this low-cost device reaches the hands of millions of students, we're planning to diversify the production base and indigenization of the R&D. Incidentally, the cost of this tablet at the moment, as it is being manufactured by DataWins, is around 2,276 rupees. That's for 100,000 pieces. The cost will come down the moment the numbers increase to 1 million, and we bring the cost down to 1,500. This includes profit and transportation. Half of the 1,500 rupees is going to be subsidized by the government of India, which is 750 rupees will be given to the institution by the government. And the balance 750 rupees will be paid for by the institution. So Aakash will be free in the hands of the student. That's what our mission is. So now we're going to diversify the production base and indigenize the Aakash. And to realize this dream, we are planning to create an ecosystem for end-to-end development of Aakash in India. This will create enormous opportunities for R&D institutions, developers, electronics production houses. And I want all of you present here to think about it and, if possible, be a part of this magnificent journey that we are going to be a part of in the years to come. Now, in the 21st century, the growth prospects of any sector depend on a long-term vision, which reflects expectations and aspirations of stakeholders. When I joined this ministry, I felt that this sector needs an integrated, stable vision with strategies and objectives. So I started the process of formulation of national policy for electronics manufacturing, 2011. We invited all stakeholders for roundtable conferences, crafted an integrated vision for the ICTE sector in India with a clear understanding of the backward and forward linkages. The key social and economic changes in the Indian economy helped us to identify the appropriate context of national policy on electronics manufacturing. Today, mobile phone has become more than just a communication device, as was just mentioned. There are about 900 million mobile phones in India. I don't know if there are 900 million subscribers, but certainly there are 900 million mobile phones capable of, and these are capable of online banking, utility bill payments, pension payments, ticket booking. Um, um, in the communications sector, of course, is more demanding and dynamic than ever before. So the possibilities here are enormous, and therefore this is the right time to reposition the mobile as a powerful tool of empowerment, as was mentioned. Services are becoming increasingly linked through mobile, internet, and other digital modes of delivery. So with the Aadhaar and the National E-Governance Plan applications, mobile will be used for re-authentication and availing a large number of government services without having to visit government offices. This will not only improve the efficiency and effectiveness of public service delivery, but will also help to reduce corruption in public life. This is what I keep emphasizing on, because if we are able to provide through the Aakash, and Aakash can be a tablet for that, in connection, integrating it with the Aadhaar, if we are able to provide all public services electronically, then we would have really resolved many of the issues that confront us today. Because corruption is really a very big issue, and we need to deal with it. But apart from having a strong law dealing with corruption, we need an ecosystem through which the possibilities of corruption are reduced. And the only way to do that is to have a public services delivery bill, electronically delivered public services bill. And we've already actually cleared that legislation in Parliament, in the Cabinet. It is before Parliament today. And what we're doing through that legislation is requesting states to indicate to us which public services can be delivered electronically in those states. Once they're able to do that, then that becomes a commitment to the people. And the maximum time which they are allowed under this legislation is a period of 5 years. In other words, they can deliver the services in 1 year if they so want, but they cannot deliver those services beyond 5 years. So what we are looking forward to is a regime of public service delivery electronically in a period of 5 years throughout India, so that all state governments become partners in this enterprise, so that a lot of the middlemen can actually be eliminated in the process of delivery of public services. And once that happens, I think that by and large we will be effectively dealing with the problem of corruption, which really is the result of middlemen taking over between the consumer and the government. So that's another area where we will need a lot of inputs from your sector.